Good afternoon, beautiful, beloved family of light. So much love to all of you as I welcome you to this next episode of Ascension Hour with Rev HoniB and her incredible guests. And today I'm besides myself, tickled already for having my dear galactic, sacred, divine Magdalene Heart sister Amara on the show as she gets to share her phenomenal perspective and more. I don't even call it perspective anymore, really, but it is her frequency of ascension, what he's here to share. So welcoming you quickly. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. I'm so honored, Amara, that you're here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So before we start, as always, let us just call in the prayer here because I can already tell like this is going to be so much fun. I'm feeling the juices and the sweating and the fun of this. So we're going to experience a lot. So let us go ahead and just place our feet on the floor and bring our hands to our hearts. And let us take a nice beautiful deep in-breath into that heart space and hold the breath as we connect with that sacred, holy, dazzling flame of light, that crystalline diamond light. And release the breath nice and easily. And let us draw the breath back in and hold the breath into that sacred, dazzling, white flame of light as we bring our attention down all the way to the heart of Sophia Gaia to make that deep connection into her sacred crystalline heart. And release the breath downward. And next in breath, draw the breath even deeper all the way to the center of your crystalline diamond pure white heart and white flame. And from there, as you hold this breath, I want you to draw your attention upward through your higher chakras, all the way passing through your soul star chakra, through all the dimensional planes of consciousness, passing through the great central sun, reaching all the way to the heart of source, its crystalline diamond heart, connecting to that as you release your breath. And next in breath, draw the breath all the way back into your heart as you hold the breath in your heart and that sacred, holy, dazzling flame of light connected in this vertical axis of light from source all the way down, all the way through you to the heart of Sophia Gaia. I want you to release your breath to all around you in your biofield plasma light and release it with so much joy and love. As we recognize all of us are fully embraced in this magnificent, dazzling, pure light that is from the omnipresence, from the source of all creation, and all the interaction and this beautiful platform will be from this resonance of light. Anything less than its divine perfection may not interact or interfere in any which way. And as we ground in, we allow only the divine truth be shared for this frequency that we are here to receive. And so let it be, and so it is, and so be it as we begin. Welcome, welcome, my dear gorgeous sister. Hi, Amara. I have been so joyous. As you know me some. I get very giddy when before we even come online like this, because you are also one of those spectacular bringers of light that truly you don't need introduction. You stand in your frequency and that which pulses through you, like it just blasts out. And before we come on, I start experiencing the frequency. So I can't help myself but to just feel so much joy. And it's just fantastic. It's like you came with all the frequencies of joy. So welcome as you get to experience me be in this dazzling place with you celebrating. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it feels like we're not really apart anymore when I'm joining with family. It just feels like we are already together. And
Yeah.
it is a joyful feeling. It's it's deeply penetrating. So
Yes.
I really feel that.
And I found that when we are together, we're already interacting with the frequencies of light that which we are. I mean, I cannot withhold the visceral experience of it, of the plasma. Like it's so joyous. And I feel like this ascension that we're gonna now have you bring from your lens, I found that it just keeps getting more joyous and joyous after years of tumultuous pain and suffering. So let's start with that. Let's start with where you are. Where are you now in the spectrum? And give us a little insight into Amara's ascension walk on Sophia Gaia.
Okay, well, where I am now is, of course, like many people, not where I perceive myself to have begun. And like you beautifully framed there, it's a very deep journey and very profound and very individual. So where I am now is in a state of being very in my body, being very, very somatically aware of my body and the witness of my body function as a quantum crystalline creation, and also simultaneously aware of multiple dimensions of awareness and frequency, energy, as we may define as states of God, self, whole. And I feel very calm most of the time, but also very human. And, I'm observing, I'm working very much on living within the Christic values, which I have stated clearly as part of my body. I made a declaration this year for that, living within a Christic framework and really embracing what that means to have ethical conduct and conscious conduct in all of my being. And I work hard on that. So I am in creation mode, but I'm also very much in a state of living this now and wanting to create things. So yes, very peaceful, very joyous, orgasmic, what I would define as orgasmic quality of existence, and peaceful. And it's hard to put into words some of it because we're beyond that. So words drop away. I obviously create artwork which personifies what I'm experiencing, but that's not where I started at all. No.
Of course not. Of course not. I love the way you summed it up, because it's so interesting interviewing different presenters through every week after week and seeing where we are all, like where are we on that ascension journey, and that really represents different octave of light that we are now sort of, how do I want to say this? Again, language falls short in its expression. And what I have found is it so happened there are several of us that are on this leading edge that are truly from that expansion are really coming back, and in dissension, in embodiment. It's coming in, it's coming in, it's coming in, truly embodying. And what that embodiment feels like, what that, it's like a rediscovery of the body in the different bodies. And I found myself fluctuate between the different bodies. Oh, this body feels like this body. And I'm falling in love with the bodies, the mechanics of the bodies that for so long felt so painful and annoying. And oh gosh, I just want to leave it for majority of my life, which that's where you and I bond so much. So, and I can see you're also in here, and how fun it is to discover, but discover from this lens. That's so freeing.
Yeah, the energy's moving so beautifully. Once there's something that cracks, I think, along the way of all the resistance. Is one of the big major resistances we have in the ascension journey is to the ability to open and trust to receive from source, from source, not from what we believe source to be, not what we've been taught source to be, not what we want source to be when we're controlling, and all of the wounds that create the lenses by which we've learned to have this relationship with matter, because that's what it is. We're spirit in the matter, aren't we? We're coming through this quantum field. So my awareness now is of an exquisite childlike fascination and awareness with all of creation and with all of the elements of creation. So particularly embodying, yes, the Sophic dragon. I have very much embraced that energy myself, and really working with that energy of angelic energy as well. And what I would embrace that as a Yanni, angelic, collective, monadic body. And where that takes me is in this liquidine state, which is what it looks like here, I guess. And just through the different creations, so like rock and mountains, and everything has a new relationship, like this week with trees, again, defining my tree body, the rock body. It's like every state, every animal you meet, every human you meet, there's new texture in. We're not doing the ambling along of this hypnosis that we've been in. Of course we can go into it because we walk on all levels and serve on all levels, but the actual embodiment of crystalline light comes through the receptivity of receiving the Christ into the matter, the body. And that's what I feel, maybe where we are right now, is we've accelerated somewhat. And it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous because the transition is spinning so fast. And there's this, we've for so long we've spoken about homecoming. There's that homecoming, and on the intellectual awareness, there is that homecoming. Then when the emotional liquid body of light starts remembering it, and when it comes actually into the body, it's like a whole different experience, the visceral experience. Like when you're talking about the trees and the flowers, it's a complete different experience. So we're starting to tap into the essence, and I feel that essence, that what is this Christ essence? This is so free. So this is what Yeshua was high on all the time. Oh my God, it's like the best. I love this DMT release constantly. Like, I get this. This is fantastic. And then it relieves you. It truly, it lets you forgive so much easier. It lets you, as you meet like encounters of debris and triggers, they somehow become like most treasured gifts that have suddenly come up. It's like such a shift. And that's why I want our audience to hear, because for so long we were just, we're like, what? This is horrible. Like, no to this incarnation. And then there's been the switch after years of the journey.
Just made 3 words there because I'm so words drop out straight away. So you'll speak and it'll be like, oh God. So forgiveness. big one. So where we are mostly is in this illusionary state of suffering. And Joshua spoke a lot about this. You and I have shared, I've had a lot of interactions with different, I call them Yana, Ascended Master Energy collectives. And I've learned a lot through having these interactions and councils. So you reflect on your life. And for me, I was in a victim state. I can freely admit that I was not accountable for myself. I hadn't been taught or parented in a way or such a way to come into my body or to value what the experience was. And so consequently, I had a lot of trauma and a lot of blame towards the messengers of those things. And what changes as your heart opens is you realize that all of the spirits who have come into soul to have an experience on the human planet, on our beloved planet, have agreed to come through these lineages and the bonding of these lineages, the bondage and slavery that it created of the mind and the chemistry to learn. And then immediately once this lands in, there is this lifting of the trauma body. And that I feel that's what Joshua actually was doing, because he certainly, from our interactions as an eternal being, not just the body of Christ that was here and the one that's been written about, that there was a lifting of this body. And it's now happening for the planetary body, which is of course why we see all the other ancillary things that look like great difficulties, all the systems and the things, which are being exposed is just it's like a byproduct or a symptom of the structure that was created of the forgetting. And so with the acceleration, that expansion, it turns 180 degrees, doesn't it? It's literally like when I meet people every day in my role, I meet all people in all belief systems, faiths, and I see straight through the story. I embrace it with empathy and with compassion. I love everybody and I meet them where they are, and I see that inside is that spaciousness. And it's really accessing the spaciousness that collapses the miasma that's on top. And I feel that's what was my journey. Was I didn't have a manual, I was an atheist when all this started, and I was like angry and rejecting love. I didn't know what love was. It was all the other things that unconditional love is not. It was conditional and manipulative. So my body was poorly and sick, and so was my mind, and so my emotions were not regulated, and I wasn't in my body. I was escaping and numbing, and that just kept perpetuating. But gradually through this journey of the last sort of 20 years, maybe more like 10 intensively, it just has, like with the planet, with the stars, with all of creation, moved into a space of forgiveness. And that's really, it's like the Ho'oponopono is one of my central mantras, because I really truly understand what that means when you say it.
Yeah, that heart standing, inner standing, that becomes the platform understanding. So the foundation changes. It's like an entire restructuring. There's so much restructured because of the DNA template. And, I found that these truly horrific traumas along the way were specifically placed because the way that kept showing to me through the higher team as the ability to actually meet it finally, when kind of like a time release capsule ready, that readiness was there. Then as it merged into its consciousness, then its message became something different. It was no longer a signal of trauma, because that was able to be received and that frequency, the spectrum of light rays within it open up to open the plasma in it, so that photonic light body began shifting. The DNA naturally updated in one of its octave of light. So then suddenly there was more access to the ability to experience that omnipresence, like a fractal of it became available again. It became online. And so it's been, it takes a while, because once that muscle develops, it is like, okay, now I really get it, because it's now standing on this truly, it's no longer that word understanding that we used to think of. It's really, you're standing under inner standing, heart standing. And it's like, wow, it just continually becomes like a game changer. Then it's like, yes, we came here to create worlds, co-create together. This is freaking fabulous. Now this is great. So
yeah, when it lands in, it's quite amazing, isn't it? Because we realize that there is no actual issues on this earth that cannot be solved with, when we understand quantum creation, and it's part of our bodies, and we understand that it's actually, we are the technology, we are the living technology, our consciousness creates the technology. And as we learn to breathe and sound and be present with that, we will actually resynthesize the planet. We'll work with everything together, and it's like it's still a bit of a fringe notion, isn't it? But it's a quickening. And the thing for me is, with all of these things, is when you're in I liken Ascension to like a river, and the river's got different flows, it's got different speeds, and everyone's in their own flow, and everyone's got their own lessons. And some people are spinning around in eddies, and some people on the bottom in the sand and in the murkiness, and some people are in the fast, but we're all in the same river, and we're all in the same ocean. We never left it. So with that, we can meet this journey and it is spaciousness. That's what I feel, is it's a spaciousness. It's not even light or dark in a way. It's just a spaciousness of potential, and that is really the remedy, because a lot of what derives human action is survival, and we're so afraid when we look outside at the burning building, like, oh, what's going to happen? Is God punishing me? That's because that's been a prevailing kind of, or some other outside thing, it could be anything. Or I haven't made the grade, or I'm not good enough, or I'm broken, or, this notion is like a space where it creates a barrier to what we've got. So now, as we're opening and quickening, and fundamentally more and more people carry this, it's like a tuning fork. And that's what I feel we are, that my personal pillar, I feel like I'm a tuning fork. It's actually not even a glamorous job. Like, I'm literally like the mail delivery person from the Angelic Collective, just here to deliver the energy. And it's not a glamorous job. It really isn't. You have to open to feel everything, to see everything. Nothing's hidden. We're not in love and light sitting on a cloud pretending everything is okay. We're on the floor in the jungle and delivering every day to see and feel everything. But to, like you said, it was so beautiful the way that you shared it, is just that when it comes into the crystalline flow, that even what we might perceive as the things we don't like to talk about because it is uncomfortable, because people are traumatized, that can be brought into love, and we reframe it as an experience, because we're in a continuum. We're not in, we think we're having a life because we're in a body, and that creates structures of the mind. But from my perspective of witness, I'm in a continuum.
Yeah. And let me ask you a question. You said something so important, Amara, my love. And along the same line, this is for the audience. if you've experienced this right around what you just said, because through that crystalline, direct experience of crystalline, then the spectrum of the energies of motion, when they become, through the crystalline, they're then perceived as liquid light. The liquid light is different. So then it's like there's like an observation of it, an experience, but it does not have the energetic pool of its density. It's not bypassing or anything. It's like, I feel with what happens with these octaves of light, as we are updating this natural template of all that is already there within this crystalline DNA, fully intact, it's there. It's just when it comes online, those angelic wings truly open up. That's the resurrection wing, the victorious light, the victorious wing. So through that liberation, it liberates you from experiencing the suffering, the density of it, because you recognize the emotional spectrum from joy and hate is the same, is liquid light. It's just different now. You just don't experience it the way you would experience it before you were accessing the crystalline, and that's that. I've come to recognize, that's I love this resurrection light. I love the victorious. I really love this, and I feel I love it so much because of how painful, how truly brutally harsh this incarnation was, and the depth of, you and I have experienced some horrific, cruel in the human experience, and we've had to experience that to then be able to experience this. And so I just wanted to address that for a second based on what you said.
Beautiful. Well, it's beautiful. Like when I was going through the kind of like, the nobody gives you a manual thing that we both went through together. And we're just like discovering, like, oh, yes, Cancer 12. Oh, yes, these things, these different pillars. Like nobody was saying, we've got the things written down now, but no, I was just having direct experience of the construct of the crystalline body, and with no vocabulary. So it strips you out. It shows you your darkness. It shows you where you're not being accountable. Because to move in this way, we've got to be accountable in that it's not just like a shit you get on a day. It's your entire existence, and also we're carrying it for all of time because we're bringing it together. So that space is where you say liquid light is key for me, because it's what I was experiencing. I remember I was living in Portugal by the sea, and I like many people, like left everything, dropped everything, went on a kind of pilgrimage journey for a few years. And I was really feeling, as I was on the beach, and I felt so connected to the water and the waves and the motion of the waves. And I could feel creatures in the sea, which we would say didn't exist. Yeah. But I felt the creatures were above the sea, like big whale angel type things. And I was like, what are these? And it was like, oh, that's the Andromedan. That's the Andromedan body. That's the crystalline body. And then like, am I breathing in a liquid state? And this was God speaking with me. Source is like, yes, you are in a womb state. You're breathing liquidine energy. And I'm like, oh, what's liquidine energy? And all these things are now becoming part of our vocabulary. When I was trying to originally descript and bring these codes in, it was like, she told me what this was. I had to I think it's the beautiful thing is because it's created from inside and from what I call initiations. These are the sacred initiations. These would have been, if we'd been in the Essene order and it was still alive, and it is alive within us, we would have been going through initiatory bodies as women. We would have been in a kind of priestess role of learning what it is that to be a crystalline body, what is the water, the sacred holy water of our body doing when we breathe in these frequencies?
That
What's
Lemurian,
happening with our brains, or what's happening with our neurotransmitters? This is why it's changing, is because we produce naturally endogenous substances which create this network. We do it naturally. The sequencing happens naturally, and we amplify each other, like we're amplifying each other, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we do this, like people listening here, you'll feel our emanations and how we bridging this and bringing this through, because this is what quickening actually is. This is what it looks like.
yes,
But it also looks mucky and snotty and releasing and resistance and falling in and then witnessing yourself and coming out. It's something that's a journey. And the journey for me as a human being, having felt and witnessed myself in many states now, I have come, just like you said earlier on, I did not like my body. I felt my body was broken, that I was a broken human being who couldn't exist in such a strong environment as what it looks like on Earth. And now I am grateful. I am so grateful. Every day I begin my journey with the waking part. We can debate waking and sleeping, but that space of being on this planetary body is pure gratitude for the sensory experience of having a body and being able to relate this to other beautiful brothers and sisters and animals and trees and plants. I feel it's a gift.
I don't even say waking up like in the morning. I don't that vocabulary is left because I said rising. I was like, grand risen from because it feels like that. It's so, gosh, I love this. I just love this so much. And that's what happens when we are in this now, as our frequencies interacting with each other. Like before, I was wondering what to wear, not what to wear. I was just guided, okay, put this on, this is the brand new one. But I just knew it because this morning with my biofield alignment meditation group that I'm leading, I'm teaching them how to access the ancient technology of their biofield, which they are, and this incredible blend of Lemurian Atlantis that is this plasma light. So, and here it is, your color is my color, like, and that's what it is. But the experience of it, what it's like when you get to directly experience it. So right now, as you and I are interacting with each other, I can see the flowing of that and the interdimensionally and the way the sounds are flowing with it, as behind this pulsing where the audience are experiencing it. So it's so beautiful to truly live multidimensionally and within the form. And like, I am so excited, Amara, about the years to come on this walk on the belly of Sophia Gaia, because it's totally different now. I can really now feel the juices flowing, the salt, like, as if you're going to eat an amazing, delicious dessert. This is delicious. Like, as we're coming together, this is just fantastic, this new earth. It took a while to get here.
Yes. Well, it's the time, really, the actions. And I think some of this is about trust, isn't it, as well?
Mm-hmm.
So, like right now, so I've been on quite a few different journeys around the world, and they've always been guided. This year I was in Egypt.
Yeah.
On a very deep journey there, a very big awakening process while I was there, and like a death awakening. It was big.
Yes.
And my spine reactivated, I would say, with a crystalline substrate. It literally essentially got a new spine. I mean, healing is a very big area, but for me, healing is just natural readjustment to what we are.
Yeah.
yeah, as we move. So there was a big step for me there. And I was really connecting. I did connect with some of the things that you think Egypt's famous for, but the majority of where I was actually connecting in the Sahara Desert. I'm going to go back there to do more work.
Excellent.
And with the crystalline body, which I propose, is in the Sahara Desert, and that the sand is holding space for to resurrect this very beautiful place. It's almost like a city of light. And I was there, and just through breathing, just through being, and obviously just because this is my home as well, to resurrect that space in my heart so I could truly receive what it was. And I felt the creatures, I felt the beings, and the beings came around me and started to speak with me, to say they've always been here holding our countenance. You know, this is like, it's ours, it's not, you know, it's not this thing outside, it's our body reenacting itself. So it is exciting because we have been so dense. we've been so slow, like this really slow broadband, like clickety clacketing along with dense software, and it all got like all bugs in it and stuff.
And you know, you said something key about the sand. I just want to address this with this. So several of us, the last, you know, especially the last couple of years, thanks actually to COVID, restructured things, forced and the movement around. And what's so incredible about that sand, many of us repositioned to be somewhere. We're right by sand where we are in Florida now. And these feet have to be on sand. There's been a lot with Yeshua saying, so there's that crystalline in sand glass that comes from, but it's from a subatomic level. And then like here, we've been able to see the crystal pyramids. Whenever we are on the sand, we're sitting there, we're walking, suddenly we see them, and all these other dimensional consciousness that's already here, ready to interact, ready to assist us. So that's so important part of this. And I'm very glad you said that. Where we're positioned, it is considered one of the 22 cities of light. So we open up a page called the Golden City of Light. And now, you know, you're also part of our new, what we've just structured with our association, because we're all coming together. This is all being pulled from all different parts of the world, very much as your painting also behind you captures, as these are all being implemented, and it's in crystalline embodiment. That's what's so exciting. So exciting. And from this place of exciting, I want you to share, as we kind of go towards wrapping up, what is coming up for you? You mentioned you're going to go back to Egypt. What is coming up for you that if individually you're doing, or groups of individuals can take part, or within your service, within your offering? And let my audience know, so that way we can also learn about it and rejoice in it.
A lot of what I bring is very intuitive. So I was never, although I have got an immense toolkit, and I had, you know, I could have done many things. I could have been a healer, I could have traveled, you know, I felt like I've gone into service. So I'm an intuitive way shower. So I obviously draw and share light codes, and, you know, you can access those. What else we do is we facilitate space. So I bring and create spaces which are very much in the pulse of what is here now. So again, there is no plan. Haven't got a thing. Yeah. It's just to access the highest potential that you can be in that moment. And the thing for me is to create trauma-informed, ethical, Christos-based spaces of advanced ascension experiences. We do this in different ways. We have pause and receive, which is for resting. We have an activation, which is AAA, works with El-Morya and angelic and the crystalline framework. And then I run retreats as well, which are slightly longer pieces where we go much more in depth, and we have a lot of fun and we get to know each other. They're always very beautiful spaces. I've just done a dragon group. We've got another one in February. So there's lots of different things there to get involved with, and I enjoy the facilitation spaces. We do smaller groups as well, which are much more geared towards like healing and really bringing back what's naturally here. So we're working with the mouth a lot at the moment, because this is the portal of expression. And we work in different ways with those. We call that pillars of light, which you were familiar with, because there is always 12 pillars. And we created a geometric framework for the acceleration to happen. And we have what we might regard as miracles, but for me, it's just quantum attunement, reassignment, because that's the thing for us. Is so the important thing for me is to create a strong, ethical, trauma-informed, really, really beautiful basis for us to bring these values and live them. How do we go out into the world? How do I be a mum? How do I be a friend? How can I do what I'm passionate about and live it with these values? These are the things that I'm passionate about too. How are we going to create a world? How do we walk in amongst all of the debris, like you said, and still find the Christ inside? And how do we then meet someone that's in trauma or in that suffering and act with compassion? And those are the things that I feel very important for us. So lots of things like that, and just being really a bridge to help authentic expression. And in between that, I travel. I'm about to travel again. I feel I'm actually being evicted from my house because my house has been sold or being
interesting.
So that's a sign from the universe for me. Instead of it being doom and gloom, it's like, hello, thank you. I know I'm supposed to move now. It's time to lighten again and to be open to the traveling. So it will be wherever it is. I've got an idea. And just really live in that value of being guided. I am open to be guided and serve in a way where I value myself. First and foremost, my cup must be full. It must be full. And so that is a big part of my life, is just my own self-care and self-awareness. And then with that in my heart and the wind in my sails, to just be open to create what is. We're all going to be together, and that, I feel, is we're in a transitional space for the planet right now. It's very strong energy, it's catalytic, and also a lot of purging. So I've got a big role with holding for the purging as well. And doing that within a framework of being trauma informed as well, and not to iron it out.
Oh, so good. So good. You know what it is? It's like sometimes when we speak and I feel like God's gracious feathering my heart, feathering, like tickling. It feels like the music of it. It's so good. So right. Oh, totally with you. And I just love that. And that way, you know, my audience can reach out to you directly, because they will so benefit, and they know that. And as you and I will collaborate further with our new establishment association, because this is exactly that. This is for us, a big part of it is that higher love first, from the fullness it moves through. It's such fantasticness. And gosh, thank you so much.
So our blessings of the Divine Mother, and finding that within ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are really blessed. We really, truly are. And I'm so incredibly grateful to have these conversations and just to be able to show up authentically, you know, and now we can really shine and not be ashamed of shining. Because when we're like children, well, just look at children when they're not shut down. Look at how children are the shiny star beings, and we are the star beings too. We just forgot how to be that child, that divine child, and that for me is an exciting place to be, and a blessed space to be, and through it, noticing our brothers and sisters are all around us, we will transition. I'm quite sure.
So humbled, so grateful, so thankful, and this grand rising is just fantastic. Ihamia kumataya tamia kaya tiamia ihatumu kuiti ahamiki mataiki. Thank you so much. And thank you, our beloved audience, for being with us. And all of Susanne Amara's information is going to be on the YouTube channel as well. And please know how you can get in touch with her, with what she offers as she travels, and the energy of this. I want to share something with you as we go. In 2018 to 2020, right, about almost 2 years, through the Intergalactic Council of Light, I was given specific instruction to activate the crystalline diamond light bodies of the individuals that were ready to be the containers of it. And through this 2 years, about 500 sessions plus, and at various levels. And one of the interesting thing was, through this, at one point, I could get myself, like in this level, I can't, but during that, towards the end, my octave of light would shift and shift dimensionally to a place that I could hear the sound of the origin of creation of the soul when it just became a spark of light before it took form. But what its sound was, I could access that, and through sound I could then briefly sound it out and sound the movement of it and its color and movement. And then once the session was finished, to demonstrate to the individual what that was. And it was extraordinary, because every single time they would say, like, oh my gosh, it's like I always knew that. But Amara, the way that sounds, I can see, I can hear, even I haven't even gone into this, I can see the movement of it. But there was this thing with the ma, and then the ra, and then the ah within those sounds that generate from the creation. So I made a little post. It was a memory that came up with all the different ones. You see the squiggles like all around. So incredible. So I love Amara. Like I can feel like every single, like the way that is, like I can, like, wow, like, oh, the way this is spiraling, I can it's fantastic. So I just had to share that with you.
It's beautiful. Well, it was given and I didn't know what it was for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot of trouble connecting with my collective at first.
Yes.
Physically, and we can't cover it today, but it would be a really interesting conversation to help people.
For another one, for sure.
Yeah, so it would help a lot of people to understand what quickening might look like. And the Amara is the sounds of the tones, the original tones of the heart. And as I took that in as my soul body, that quickened me. So it's not an arbitrary name, it's a name of energy. Like you say, it's a harmonic. This is what this code is behind me. It's the origin frequencies. These are the trifold flame, the original coming from the white flame of that space. And I hear this too. My whole body feels, and all the senses are mixed together. Like I smell sound, and you know, it's a bit crazy sometimes, but it's
crazy awesome.
No, it's just not crazy dark. I mean crazy joy, crazy beautiful.
Totally.
Like this is how we actually are, you know, a sensory and sensual instruments, and this is what we are. But it's hard to conceive, I think, for many people when they're moving. So to have these constructs, what you're bringing is so valuable to help people reconstruct their light body and not be afraid of what this looks like or what this is, to sense make. Why are we in creation? What quantumly is happening to produce these emotions?
Yes.
This thing, and then of course you're going to be much more regulated. And this is, for me, this is what we're going to do with each other. Our communities join, we grow together. It's one, we're one world, one body, and the law of one. So
that's what dance, sister. Plasma dance. Exactly.
We're just this beautiful energy. And yes, the sounds, those sounds are very important. The heart tones, to activate the heart.
Yeah.
And to open the core energetics of the heart.
Thank you for this deliciousness. I feel so deliciousified right now. I'm loving it. And
thank you to everyone that's listened as well. I really appreciate everyone taking time. If you've taken time to spend your time listening and tuning in, it's a blessing. So thank you.
A big blessing. Yes. And many more. Many more. Thank you everyone for joining today. Embrace, enjoy, truly enjoy these frequencies and allow them for your walk of life today. And we'll see each other next week as we have Zoe as our beautiful guest next week. So thank you so much again, my beloved Amara. And have a blessed day, everyone. Much love.